When I say the acronym JDM, what image pops into your head? I know some of you are thinking this, or maybe even this. Well, I don't know if we should count that one. Without a doubt, ever since I was a young chap, when I heard JDM, this is the image I saw. And I know that may be a little mainstream, but the RX-7 has always fascinated me, from the sleek design to the topic of today's video, the rotary engine. For those of you who do not know, the RX-7 was and still is an immensely popular rear-wheel drive sports car manufactured from 1978 to 2002. It is known for being insanely lightweight, packing a punch, and a Dorito spinning around in the engine. That so-called Dorito is the rotary engine, or also known as the Wankel engine. The Wankel engine was developed in 1954 by a German engineer by, you guessed it, Felice Wankel. He wanted to create an engine with less vibration and ended up with a lighter, smoother, higher revving piece of machinery than expected. The engine was reworked 2 years later by Hans Paschke, another German engineer who strived to make the Wankel more efficient. Thus, the rotary as we know it was created. Of course, this does sound a little bit like a fairy tale. I mean, why doesn't every car come equipped with the Wankel? Well, there were some cons with this engine. Due to the impractical ignition section, even though Paschke reworked the engine to make it more efficient, it still wasn't the best. There's also the part where it was prone to heat damage, high oil consumption, and poor emissions. Kinda sounds familiar. However, these flaws could be overlooked. All engines do some things better than others. Of course, the story goes from here. Mazda found this technology, slapped it in a lightweight sports car, sold over 800,000, and the rest is history. Well, not so fast. Some know the NSU Wankel Spider, a German-produced two-seater convertible, to be the first car with the rotary engine in 1964, which is sort of true. While it was the first production car, it was not the first car with the Wankel. Before it came the Skoda 1000 MB, which was produced and sold mainly in the Czech Republic, but with a 4-cylinder engine. I know, that has nothing to do with the rotary engine. But in the early 60s, Skoda experimented with the rotary and used it in an unknown number of their 1000 MBs for testing to see if it would be a better fit than the 4-cylinder. Unfortunately, there isn't a lot of information on these tests, and the vehicle never made it to production. So the Czech brand Skoda could have been what started it all. After them came the aforementioned Wankel Spider, some Mercedes models, even Chevrolet experimented with the Wankel engine in a Corvette, which turned out to be nothing of excitement, but that seemed to be the story for almost, if not all, of these models that featured a rotary engine. No one could make anything stick until Mazda, the well-known but smaller Japanese brand compared to the giants of Ford, Chevy, Toyota, Nissan, started playing around with the rotary. Mazda used the rotary engine in a couple of models before the RX-7, more than likely the most notable as the Cosmo, which did well but was heavy and clunky, not what you would expect from a sports car. Mazda then set their sights on producing an extremely well-handling, rear-wheel drive sports coupe that would turn heads. Their management at the time decided to get the performance they were looking for, and doing so the most interesting way possible, the rotary engine was the clear choice. Now listen, I am no car manufacturer. I wouldn't even pretend to know what it takes. However, if I was deciding on the engine of a vehicle, I don't think the word interesting would be in my vocabulary. Maybe on the design of the vehicle, but not the engine. Mazda's development chief at the time, Kenichi Yamamoto, wanted innovation, engineering, and design to be the core beliefs of the brand and this new model. Matsuburo Maeda, the designer of the RX-7, took hold of these ideas and injected those into his work. This was the birth of the car we know and love today. Unless you have to daily it, of course, but that's a topic for another video. Mazda boasted over 800,000 sales worldwide with this new model and slingshotted themselves up with the giants of the automotive industry. They had a slew of motorsport wins across the globe, with even highly modified RX-7s competing and winning, might I add, at Le Mans in the late 70s, early 80s. With all this success, this has made Mazda and the RX-7 a staple in car culture, even seeping into the entertainment culture with Han and Sean cruising around the streets of Tokyo in Han's RX-7 Veilside. So next time you find yourself admiring one of these pieces of art, you might want to thank Skoda, the unheard Czech brand that started it all.